Hello, how is everyone doing? Well, hope everybody is okay. And we are going to begin today with the design thinking class that a lot of you were asking about last week. Well, first we'll begin with a little bit of what we taught last class related to finding problems. Remember that I asked you as,
Oh, yes, I see him now.
sorry? Okay, can you guys hear me? Perfect. Okay, so as I was saying, last class we talked about finding problems around you, and asking questions to understand how people experience the problem and how we can start finding solutions. So, good morning to everyone. Yeah. So, were you able to find the problem, a small problem, something that you can fix around your house, around your family, around your neighborhood? So perfect. I think we have a little bit of delay, but we'll manage. So let me know what kind of problem did you find, and how did what were you able to learn about the problem? Asking questions. Were you able to interview someone, to talk to someone? Mhm. I think I'm having problems with the chat. Mhm. Well, the important thing is for you to, when you're going to begin trying to solve the big problems, like the problems that you were mentioning last class, like we talk about corruption, we talk about access to education, we talk about bullying, violence, etc. It's hard to start big when with a big problem, because we don't have much experience, we still don't have many resources, so we start small with something small around us. So the idea is to start with something that you can solve around you. And for example, if we want to, let's say we want to solve the problem of access to education, so I cannot, of course, just wake up one day and decide that I'm going to build a school to help that problem. But what I can do is, um, for example, share with my family, with my neighbors. Hey, I found this website where you can take free lessons on these certain topics, and you can get some update education, things like that. So, okay, Tara here is saying pollution is a problem that you chose. I didn't do many interviews, just my parents. What I learned is that the reason for dumping refuse indiscriminately on the road is because the waste service doesn't get to your area. Well, that's something, is a big problem, that you focus on something small that is around you. That's very good. So people are dumping trash on the road because the waste service doesn't get to your area. So, um, what kind of uh, solution we can create for that example? And I'm going to be using your example, Tara, during the rest of the class. We're going to find out now. What we're going to review with design thinking is a little bit an introduction to innovation. So how to create new and hopefully never before try ideas so we can have big impact with our solutions. Okay. And design thinking is a process where I get to understand the people, like really, really understand the people that are having the problem, and following a process of thought to create the solutions that the people need. Okay. But let's go step by step. What is innovation? Innovation is a new idea, a creative thought, a new imagination in form of a device or a method. This sounds very abstract, but let's think of innovation simply as bringing something new that wasn't there before. And this something new can be a product, can be a service, can be a way of doing things, can be a new access to something. For example, um, trash pickup on roads is something that it's known, and a lot of places have it. But if you're going to create a way to bring this trash picking system to an area that doesn't have it now, it's uh, it's a way of innovating. You're bringing a good idea that you read about, you found about somewhere else, to your area, to your neighborhood, to your society. Yeah, it's important to have food and get energy for these classes. It's going to be a long afternoon for everybody. Yes, indeed. You can refine certain kinds of waste to create other resources, recycling, reusing, repurposing. But that is a big process, an expensive process, where you usually need certain machinery, a certain process, like chemical process, to clean all that trash and transform it into something useful. So we need to learn about that. Here I'm reading Larissa. Lack of education is a problem. I did many interviews with my neighbors, and they said that there is a lack of opportunities, which increase the rate of poverty, and there is a low rate of literacy. That's you found like the mother load of problems there. Without education, people don't have the tools to teach themselves and to improve themselves. So if you don't have enough education, you don't have literate people. For example, if you live in a place where not a lot of people can read, that means that the access to education and to ways of improving your life and to solving problems gets extremely tough. So that's something to work in. But let's go ahead with innovation. So think of innovation as adding something new, bringing something new. So it can be, as I said, a new product, a new service, a new way of doing things, a new way of like a new way of thinking. Uh, and we'll review a few examples right now. So we'll first split this definition in two. A new idea, creative thought, or new imagination is basically adding something new to the world. And as I said, it's not something new, like no one has ever heard of this before, and you have a pure, creative, innovative thought in your head. It's very difficult to get to have like 100% new, something that never nobody have heard of before. But it can be new to your country. It can be new to your neighborhood. It can be a mix of two things that were already being done, and you mix it. For example, an innovation, and no, let me think. I was thinking of a very old example, and I sometimes forget that we have a big age gap between you and me, guys. Let's think of, okay, uh, we used to have cell phones that we used to text and call, and computers on the other side that we used to work and run apps and do different things. Both of them work pretty good, each on their own. But someone decided, hey, how about we mix this? They're known technologies, but I'm going to innovate and mix those two technologies, merge them, and now we have smartphones. Smartphones are a great innovation, but they are based on things that we already knew. They just put them together and made it easy for us to access. Larissa, I'll be happy to share my email and help you with that. And also, you can, of course, contact the Coderina team, and I'm sure they're going to be help you to create your YouTube channel. Mhm. So the second part of the definition is in form of a device or a method. It's not only important to have this thought, this creative idea, but you have to put this into reality. You have to bring this into reality, either through either to constructing a thing, to merge into things, to start sharing this new way of thinking, to put into paper this new method of doing things. You have to make it tangible, because ideas you forget about them. Ideas you lose track of them in time, and it's hard to share ideas, but it's very easy to show you something. Here is my new product that is going to help cleaning the roads of trash. Here is my YouTube channel that I'm going to use to help teaching. Mm, that is true, Dami. We need imagination. And remember what Are and the rest of the team told you on the first class. You have to be you have to become crazy inventors. There's no limit to what you can create. It's only in your head. If you can think of it, you can create it. Perhaps it takes time. Perhaps you need years of training, of study, of preparing. But if you can think of it, you can create it. So just get crazy thinking of weird ideas to solve people's problems. So, examples of innovation. In this picture, you can see the first computer ever. It was a computer which processing power was used mainly to process numbers, like math problems. And it was so big that it fit in a whole room. Everything that you see there, all those cables, all those panels, were just one computer, the first computer. And from there, we uh, people started working, creating ideas, thinking of how to make it better, and they innovated to the personal computer, the first personal computer, a computer that it didn't fit in a room, but it fit in a table and that you could take home. And that, of course, changed a lot of things, because now people could have computers in their homes. Regular people like us could have computers in your home, and we can use that power to work, to create, to build things. And finally, we have a laptop, which now make it possible for us to put our computers in our backpacks and go wherever we needed to go in order to work, to create, even if it's not to work. Perhaps I want to write a screenplay for a movie. I want to I don't know, do a photo montage to show everybody how cool and how pretty my country is. I want to do a YouTube channel. I want to play video games. I want to whatever you want to do. Now you have the power, the access, the technology is there for you to put it in your backpack and travel the world with it. So innovation has taken us from a whole room dedicated to one computer to now you can be in an office where everybody you have 10 people with 10 computers sitting on the same table working. But not only in products, but we also innovate in methods, in ways of doing things. The first system of trade in history was, well, exchange of goods. I caught a fish, I want a rabbit, let's exchange one for the other, and now we each have what we want. This there wasn't money, there wasn't anything but an exchange of goods. I give you something, you give me something back, and that was that's how trade was created. Then coin was invented, currency. We use gold or precious metals in the form of a coin to exchange for goods. We didn't exchange one good for another good, another item of the same value. But indeed, trade by barter. I forgot the word. Sorry. But now with coins, I could buy several goods with one coin because one gold coin equals, let's say, 10 fish. So now it's easier to make to do trade. And now I can trade in other because of course if I carry the fish from one country to the other, it's going to get spoiled. Now I can carry coin to one country to the other and do more trade. And we kept innovating. Now we have credit cards. I carry my money in this plastic thing that fits my wallet where I carry all my currency. And not only my currency in my in the currency of my country, but I can also use other currencies in other countries just with a plastic thing. But that's not the end of the innovation. Now we had cryptocurrency like Bitcoin. This means that there's a quote unquote coin that is made by computer code that is intangible. I can't see Bitcoin. I can't touch it. I can't feel it. It's not in a bank. It's not like usual currency work that it has value because it represents an amount of gold that is sitting somewhere in a bank. Now, cryptocurrency is a computer code that has value and that allows me to do trade all over the world without anyone stopping me. So, as you can see, innovation can also come in the way of a method. Trade has changed from I give you a fish, you give me a rabbit, to computer code that I can use to trade for goods and services all around the world. Someone mentioned another problem here. Okay, fighting with siblings, stop telling things which make other people angry. Oh, that this is not only a solution for fighting siblings. This is a solution for every problem that we have as a society today. It's and as you know, we're going through a very rough time as a society because we are scared by so many things and we say bad things to people and people are very we are all very sensible right now because of COVID, because of what's happening with race, because of inequality, because of gender inequality, and everything uh, affect us, and instead of focusing on what we have in common, or what you guys and I have in common, and what we can do together to solve these problems, people focus on what separates us, of the color of your skins, of what gods do you pray to, of where do you live, what continent are you. And it's so weird that that is happening. It's because it makes no sense. But that is one big problem that we need to solve very, very soon. So now into design thinking. Now that you have a basic grasp of what innovation is, and before we jump into design thinking, let's do a small exercise. So please write in the chat things, innovations that you have learned about, or innovations that you like, that you think have changed lives, like changed things completely. Like I told you about the laptop. Laptop allowed us to expand our way of working and creating, and make it easier and more accessible for everybody to have this tool. We talked about smartphones. We talk about cryptocurrency. What innovations do you know, have you experienced, that have changed your lives? Please share in the chat. Something that when you learn about it, your mind exploded, and you say, "Oh, now this is going to change things, I mean, immensely." Cell phones, indeed, is a great innovation. The internet. Well, without the internet, we literally wouldn't be here right now talking. Again, let's never forget how amazing things are around us. We take them for granted, but things are amazing. Uh, this is a bit out of the innovation part, but I once read a philosophy book that I hope a lot of you would enjoy. That is called Sophia's World, and there they talk about how we have to be always surprised and amazed about the world that is around us. Let's not get used to the magic that is around us. Like I flip a switch and the light turns on. That is amazing. It's incredible. Let's not get used to that. Let's always be amazed about the world around us, and that is going to help us be creative. Online transfer and payments, indeed. The internet, video games. That's very true. Satellites to detect weather variations. Yeah, I live in an island where we get hit by 10 or 15 hurricanes a year. If we don't have those weather detect patterns, we don't have time to run. Credit cards, laptops, GIS, indeed, uh, very useful for, again, like weather, natural disaster preparedness, awareness. Technology for people with disabilities. That is true. Technology in general. Fingerprints, hearing aids, cars. See, a lot of you are focusing on very like high-end innovation, which is good. Those are innovation, like satellite detecting weather patterns. That is very, very high-tech innovation, very new. Some of you are mentioning cars, and you say, well, cars aren't cars innovation anymore, like right now. But yes, they are, and we still should be amazed at how I push my feet into a pedal, and I make a huge piece of metal and plastic move at high velocity, and allows me to transport people and food and resources. It's amazing. Thank you very much, Guy. All great examples. So let's get into and sorry, and to close this part, just uh, remembering you to never stop being amazed of everything we have, because if you allow yourself to get used to all this technology, all this technology magic that is around us, all this science that allow us to do so many things, it's going to be hard for you to have these creative thoughts that are going to allow you to really innovate. Okay. So now into design thinking, this method of how to innovate basically. Design thinking is a process. It's a way to create innovative solutions focused on the people. Remember, we are not ge- creating innovative things or new solutions for ourselves because we like the idea, because it's cool. We are trying to build solutions for people. We're trying to uh, help improve the quality of life of people. It can be small groups of people, like let's say people with hearing impairments. That's a small group of people, or it can be big groups of people. Like we're going to create innovation to help preserve the environment. That helps a big bunch of people. The design thinking process, it's a 5-step process. We're going to get through the 5 steps in a second, and it will help you create new solutions with a high potential of innovation, which means they are going to be new. You are not going to have a lot of competition, and it's going to help you create it quicker. So reduce the time it takes you to create innovation, reduce the cost of creating innovation, so it's accessible for more people. So more of you can create these new and cool solutions. These are the 5 steps. Empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Okay? And let's just pay attention to the first step is empathize. Empathize is human, is as human as it gets. It's what defines us and separates us from animals and other uh, living beings. We are able to empathize. I am able to talk with you, with each one of you, and understand what you're feeling, what is motivating you, what you're experiencing, and what problem are you feeling, are you living, and that generates a feeling in me, and that feeling moves me to do something to help you. Empathize is what you do it every day. When your parents tell you something, and okay, like they tell you to go to bed because tomorrow everybody has to wake up early, and say, well, I don't want to go to bed, but my mom has been working all day and she's tired. Okay, I don't want to give her a problem, so I'm going to go to bed. That is empathy. You are not doing something that you want to do because you feel inside yourself the problem that your mom is having, and you want to help her. So you go to bed when she tells you. That this is because the first step and the focus of all this process is people. People is always the focus of this. It's not becoming a millionaire. It's not just being the next Elon Musk, which is not bad, but the focus of everything, of all that we're doing, is people, is helping people, is creating solutions for people. So we empathize at step one. In this step, this first stage of design thinking, what we basically need to do is to put ourselves into the shoes of the person that is having the problem that we want to solve. We have to be them. We have to feel what they're feeling. We have to understand their surroundings. So we there um, We need to understand what pain they're feeling and how they're feeling it, because it's very hard to solve a problem that you don't understand. It's very probable that if you try to solve a problem that you don't understand, you are not going to create a solution that people use, because you're creating something that it's out of touch with reality. You have to be the person having the problem. There are a bunch of ways that you can do this. You already did the first and one of the most important ways of understanding the pain and being able to put yourself in the shoes of the person having the problem by interviewing, asking them questions, hearing them. And this is just like when a friend of you have a problem, the first thing you do is, okay, well, when you see them depressed or sad or angry, you say, okay, well, what's the first thing that you do is, well, tell me what is happening. That is the first way of putting yourself in the other person's shoes, to understanding their problem. What is making them angry or sad? You ask them what is happening, and then you hear. You receive data, information, sorry, and that information helps you to understand, okay, what is going through this person's head. What are they feeling? How are they waking up? How are they going to bed? How are they experience this sadness, this angerness? Uh, so you can get that feeling inside you and process it and understand it. So the first way is to talk, to interview, to ask questions, and to listen. But you also have other methods. So, for example, if let's say that we want to solve the problem of access to technology. So, first we need to understand how people without technology live. And okay, we'll do an experiment. I'm going to live 1 week without any technology, without a computer, without a cell phone, without a TV, without video games, without nothing that use tech. And after a week, I'm going to have a small like a reality of how this person lives, how the person that is having this problem live. And then only then I can say, oh, now I understand. It's not only that the person without technology can access, for example, they can access their email, so it's more difficult for them to work. I realized after putting myself in these people's shoes that it affects everything. Since you wake up, uh, how you prepare your breakfast, how you plan your day, how you contact other people, how you interact with the world, how you get your news. Not having technology affects all that, and I didn't knew it because I'm so used to having technology. But now that I did this exercise, I understand. So um, we can experience this by trying to get into the problem that the person is having and experience the problem by for myself. It's good that you're trying to get out of your comfort zone and trying to solve a problem that someone else had, but first experience the problem and see how it's affecting you. You can also follow someone who is having the problem. So um, you let's say that you want to help access to public transport so people can move easily from one place to the other to access work, education, etc. So okay, I'm going to stop to start following someone that doesn't have a car and that has to walk, let's say, 10 miles every day to go to class, then 10 miles to go back to home. And during that time, I observe, I see how the person is. Is the person happy walking 10 miles? Are they doing something during their work? Are they sharing the work with other people, etc.? There's a lot of things that I can learn, sorry, by following someone that's having the problem and trying to understand their reactions, their motives, their pain. Okay, so to recapitulate, empathize. The first stage, it's how to how do I get to feel the same pain that the person with the problem is feeling in order for that pain to guide me through the whole process. So I create something that people want to use, that people that when they use it, it's going to solve something from them. It's going to improve their quality of life. And remember always to focus on the problem, not the solution. Don't get into this process with the idea that you want to solve in your that sorry the idea of your solution in your heads. Get here with your head clean, so all the information that you get, it helps you create something that is going to help people, not something that you want to create. It's an ego thing that you have to leave outside of this process. And gather information on all these ways that I mentioned, following the person, experiencing the problem yourself, asking questions. What all these things have in common is that they're going to give you information. They're going to give you data. Um, so that data is the one you use for the rest of the process. Now we get to define. We get all the information that we get from following the person with the problem, talking with the person with the problem, of experiencing the problem myself. I'm going to get a lot of data, a lot of information. But now, what do I do with this information? What we do is we follow a process um, like decanting all this information. We put all this in a piece of paper and we start getting patterns. So I say, okay, after all this process of getting information, I um, yes, sorry, I ask you, everybody, please try to follow the class because I'm with one eye I'm reading the comments you're doing on the chat, and sometimes I get distracted. Sorry, that was sometimes I lose my track of mind. Um, so we have all this information and we put it in a piece of paper and we start identifying patterns. Patterns means things that are repeating. So after following people with problems, talking with people with problems, experiencing the problems, I realize that there are certain things that repeat themselves. So certain ideas, certain part of the problems repeat. So okay, I take all these ideas that repeat and I'm putting them into a sentence in order to uh, have one clear line of the idea of the problem that the person is having. So after gathering all this data, what I want is to have a line that says this kind of person is having this problem and it hurts them this much. So all this data that you gather, you process and you narrow it down until it's one line. I'm going to help this group of people in my town, like these illiterate people in my town are experiencing the problem of accessing education, and it's hurting them so much that they cannot improve their quality of life. One line that sums up all the information and all the problem, all the data that you gather. And from that definition, from that one line, we move on to ideate. We move on to the part when we start throwing all kinds of ideas in order to solve this problem. From the data we gather, we start defining a solution. And this is the part where you get into the crazy inventors. So you put on the top of a piece of paper, you put this line, the line that we figured out on the second step. So we are we have this line that people, illiterate people in my town, are having problems to access to education, and that hurts them so much that they cannot improve their quality of life. We put that line on the top of the piece of paper, and then we start writing all the crazy ideas we can think of to solve that problem. There's no limit. There's no like, don't censor your ideas. If it's a crazy idea, if you think it's an idea that is, oh, we don't have the technology yet for this, we whatever, doesn't matter. Put all the ideas in a piece of paper, and this is the moment to get as creative and as crazy as you want. And from those crazy ideas, good innovations are going to come. So put all the ideas in a piece of paper, and once you have, you can give yourself, okay, I'm going to give myself half an hour to write all the ideas that I have in my head that can solve this problem, no matter how crazy, no matter how expensive. If you do this with more people, it's even better, because the amount of cool ideas that you're going to get is even better. And once you have this paper filled with great ideas, you start separating ideas in four groups. You split another piece of paper in four, and you use two parameters, two like definitions, in order to separate the ideas. So we have ideas that are innovative and ideas that are feasible, so they are doable. So on the top right square, you write the ideas that are very innovative and very doable. On the top left, very innovative, not very doable. On the bottom right, not very innovative, very doable. And on the bottom left, not very doable, not very innovative. What is an innovative idea? As we already talked about, something that is new, something that you haven't heard about, something that is not repeated, that doesn't have a lot of competition. And what is doable is something that you can do with the resources that you have at your disposal, in your town, in your house, in your community. If it's not doable, for example, let's say, oh, I want to solve, let's say I want to end war, so I'm going to put a network of satellites that detect when people are using guns, and I'm going to send the police right there. That is very innovative, but it's not very doable. To have the resources to do that is it's very hard. So it goes on the not doable but innovative part. I can say, okay, I'm going to create a group of people that is going to be always in search of people who are trying to start a war, and they're going to try to stop them. And that sounds very similar to the police. So it's already done. It's doable, but it's not very innovative. So each of the ideas that you put on this piece of paper, you classify them. And then from the square of more innovative and more doable ideas, we pick one, the one that we think that is going to solve the problem the best in the quickest time. Because this is the thing with innovation. You can have a very innovative idea, something very cool, but it's going to take you 5 years to get to the point where you can launch that product or service to the market. And sometimes we need solutions faster than that. So pick something that you can start doing quick with the resources that you have, and that starts producing the good effect that you want to cause in your society soon. Choose one and run with it. And this is going to be your cool innovation for the rest of the process. After picking an idea that solves a problem, we need to prototype. And this is Another part when you can get as creative as you want. We need to create a build, actually build, tangibly build the solution. Choose a form for your solution. Are you going to do like in the picture a mock-up? Like I want to create an app. So, but of course I don't have the technology in my house that I need right now to create an app. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a lot of pieces of paper with a cell phone drawn, and I'm going to draw how the application is going to work. So uh, so here I'm going to have in this piece of paper is how the application is going to look when you access it. Then in the login screen, then on the first configuration screen, then how it's going to when you start using it, and so on and so on. And then you have a prototype that you can the idea is for you to build the prototype with items that you can find at home. So it's easy for you to create this prototype and to update it constantly. And the idea of the prototype is that you can show to someone that is having the problem that you want to fix, and they immediately understand, oh, I see what you're trying to do. I like that idea. If you show it to someone without saying anything, and you show it, I show them this, my app, and I show them without saying anything, just show them, and they understand what I'm trying to do, you have a good prototype and you're on the right track. If they don't understand and they say, well, what is this? I don't get it. You say, okay, let's start asking questions. So, what part you don't understand? Do you understand what this is used for? Do you understand how it's going to help you? And you start doing the process of gathering information again. It's very hard to create a prototype and on the first try everybody understands everything that there is to understand. It's because we're trying to get into people's heads and we're trying to guess what they are expecting from a solution. So we're probably going to go have to get back to the prototype table a few times. And so create something that is easy to create. Like I think that the mock-up in a paper is a very good prototype, very easy access for everybody, and everybody understands it. So of course, it doesn't mean that you have to only create phone apps. You can create, for example, the problem that we were talking about of trash in the road. I'm going to create a system where everybody that goes out of the town and see trash, let's say like an Uber for trash, that they take the trash where they need to go and they get some kind of reward. So you pick the piece of paper and you start drawing. Okay, step one, we do this. Step two, we do this. Step three, here's a picture of a car getting the trash inside. You can draw methods. You can draw technology, application, whatever you can put on this piece of paper and then show people and see how they react. And remember that it's very probable that on your first or second try, you're not going to get it immediately. But this is why we have this process, because we constantly keep updating with information so you can improve your prototype. And when your prototype is ready, as I was telling you, you get the prototype out to the market, to the people, to the society. Show it to people that have the problem. And remember, the idea of this test is to not say anything. Don't explain anything. Give the prototype to the people that is experiencing the problem and see what they do. See how they react. That is going to give you very valuable information to improve your prototype. Here, for example, you can see a VR device made out of cardboard that you put on your cell phone and allows you to have some kind of virtual reality experience. And it's made of cardboard. Of course, it's mass produced and everything, but you can do stuff like that in your home. So show this to the people that you've been interviewing to learn about the problem and see how they react. See how what they tell you. See if they know how to use it. And that is going to give you a lot of good information for you to uh, keep building this project? This is a very good question. If your innovative idea fails, and that is your only innovative idea, you go to a less innovative idea. It's a good question and a tough question. For an innovative idea to fail, it's very hard for an innovative idea to fail completely, to fail without any kind of turn. Because remember, this is a process that it keeps, it's a cycle. You show the innovation to people, people don't understand it, okay, then maybe I have to make it more simple. You show it again and they understand it, but they don't know how to use it. Okay, now I have to make it more friendly for people to use it. And you keep improving it. It's not like you show the idea and they say, oh, this is a bad idea. And you say, okay, that's it. It's a process of constantly um, improving what you're showing. And indeed, Anthony, this is very time consuming, but this process is going to help you save a lot of time and save you a lot of money in creating something that actually solves people's problems. If you solve people's problems, they're going to buy it, they're going to use it. And that's the goal, for them to use and buy what you're going to offer so you can solve their problem. Okay? The key goal of testing is for them to understand how what you're building is going to improve their quality of life, is going to solve their problem. You learn from your mistakes, indeed, and this is why this is a cycle. We empathize to understand and get to know the problem in depth. We define the problem, so we narrow that all that data into one line of problem. And then we get into a cycle that never stops. I did a solution, I build a prototype, I test. When I test, I learn. All that learning I put into a new idea that I'm going to again prototype, that I'm going to again test. And these, even big companies like Apple and SpaceX and all those big names that you think, oh, they already have an innovation and that's it, they keep doing this all the time, because the moment that you think that you got to the final version of your solution, people are going to move then to someone that it keeps innovating. Of course, there is a point where the person, when you test, people understand enough of the problem that you can start creating the product and selling that to them, or sharing it with them to solve the problem, and it's going to work and people are going to like it. But then you have to keep with time, like, you don't have to do this every day, of course, but you do it, let's say, once a year. Once a year you talk to the people that are using your solution and say, what else do you expect from this solution? How else can I help you? What other problems do you have that I can help you with? And you keep the cycle going. There is a lot of examples in history of huge companies, international corporations, that have stopped doing this, and and they have disappeared because the needs of people keeps constantly getting more complex and change, and we need to be always aware of that change. Let me, when you should tell the problem you found. Mhm. So this is this is the design thinking uh, in some. We we talk to people that have the problem. We try to understand the problem as much as possible, to understand the pain of the people, of the persons that are having the problem. We refine all this information that we get into one line of problem. These people are having this problem and it's hurting them this much. Then we start creating ideas of how to solve this problem. When we find a good idea, we prototype it and we test it. prototype and test, and then we have a solution that actually helps people, that people actually want to use, and it's going to change lives, like the innovations that you mentioned at the beginning. Now it's time to become Tony Stark and start building your cool new invention. So you all have problems that you detected around your around yourselves, your community, your families, your towns that you want to solve. So now you already have the first step. You already empathize because you talk with people that have the problem and you understand a little bit of how they're experiencing the problem. So now all this, the information that you get from the interviews, narrow it down in one line. These kind of people, let's say like illiterate people in my town, or people that live that don't have internet, or people without access to certain thing are having this problem, and it's hurting them this much. When I say hurting them this much, it's not physical hurt. It can be, but it can be also like they don't feel like they have good possibilities to have good jobs, that they can access education, and they know that that is going to affect their quality of life. They can't provide for their families, etc., etc. So you have that information, and then the homework for the next week is for you to do one round of this cycle. Ideate an idea, create an idea that solves the problem that you detected, and build a prototype. So for next class, what I would like is for you to have a prototype on a piece of paper. Build a prototype, draw a prototype that you are able to show the people that are having the problem. And you cycle, you keep feeding yourself of people's information, people's thoughts on your prototype, and then you get to build Iron Man, if that's what you want to build, of course. So I know that this was a more technical class than the other ones. It's a bit more of data, of new information, and it's a bit more dense. So please, if you have questions, ask them away. If there's something that you didn't understand, ask them away. We're here to help you. We're here to not to confuse you, but um, to give you access to these tools that are going to help you in your process to become the inventors of the solutions of tomorrow. You're going to change lives, perhaps your town's lives, your family's lives, your lives, perhaps the world's lives. So we want to help you in the process. If you have questions, ask. If you need help, ask, and we're here to help. Okay? So have a great afternoon. Good luck with the rest of your classes, and whatever you need, again, we're here to help. Thank you very much. My pleasure. Hope that everybody enjoyed the class. And again, we have a few more minutes if you have any questions. And if not, I'll get with you guys and girls next week. If you have questions during the week, just write it down and I'll answer it next class at the beginning. So again, good luck. It was a pleasure as always, and see you next Saturday.